Is Germany going to be able to survive this winter? To be honest, I don't know. I can tell you this. It's not going to be easy, and it's most certainly not going to be comfortable. The good news is Germany has a plan. Alright, what's up everyone? I'm Alex Chernosiv and welcome back to Leave the Trail. If you guys are enjoying this kind of content and these videos, please consider liking and subscribing and hit that bell so you know every time I post a new video. So unless you have been living under a rock, I'm sure you're aware that there's a war going on right now between Russia and the Ukraine. This war has caused a massive oil and gas crisis across Europe, and Germany is no exception to this. Now, a lot of people in Germany here are worrying, are they going to be able to survive this winter? Is Germany going to have enough gas and enough power to keep the lights on and keep everyone's homes heated and warm through this winter? Today we're going to dive in onto what Germany's plan is and if I think it's going to work. Now I know this is a bit off of my normal kind of adventure, travel kind of content, self-development, that kind of stuff, but I think this is really important because this might affect your travel plans to Europe for the next year. If Europe goes into rolling blackouts, chances are you're not going to want to visit Europe. So we're going to talk about it now. And again, I'd like to stress that I am not a politician, I'm not a political analyst, I'm not a reporter. This is just my information collected from what's going on here in Europe and the people I know that know people in positions of power, in politics, in the government. And this is what the situation is like here in Germany right now. First and foremost of Germany's plan to beat this problem, to survive this winter, is its store of gas. Right now, Germany's gas stores are at 92% with a goal of 95 before November. Now, that is pretty good and is good news because it ensures that Germany will have at least enough power, at least enough gas to get winter started and power us through the first little bit of winter. Along with this, Germany has leased 4 storage and regasification facilities, mobile facilities, basically giant tankers, ships, and everything like that, in order to process the gas from its natural state into the liquid form that it needs to combat this problem and to fund and power its whole country. So that's another good step. The problem with this, the problem with relying on Germany's gas stores is that they can deplete at varying rates depending on 2 things, depending on how harsh this winter is and depending on how much people choose to consume. If this winter is exceptionally harsh, very cold, very rugged and tough, people are going to use more gas and that gas store is going to deplete much, much faster than they expect. On top of that, if people start to panic, which, we've seen is pretty common with the COVID situation and everything, people tend to panic and freak out and overuse and overconsume. If that happens, again, the stores will deplete a lot faster than is expected. Number 2, Germany is going old school. That's right, Germany is considering relaunching and refiring its old coal processing plants. So, this whole green government thing, they are now considering turning back on all the old coal plants, which is kind of a shot in the dark because these processing plants, for one, there's not that many of them left. A lot of them were decommissioned, taken apart, sold, all this stuff. And on top of that, it takes a long time for these plants to get going, to get functional again, and start producing the power and energy that Germany needs. That being said, it might just be enough to push them past the brink of rolling blackouts and, running out of power and heat. So it's an option and they're looking into it. Number 3, bring back the nuclear. All right, so not so long ago, pretty sure it was January or so, they finally announced that they're closing all the plants and all the nuclear power stations, and they're going to have them all closed by the end of this year, 2022. Now, due to this crisis, they're considering stopping that or keeping these plants going. Grid operators are now looking into if they can keep these plants running safely and longer without having to invest in new fuel rods. Now, nuclear power in Germany only accounts for about 6% of Germany's overall power grid from when it was working, so it's not a huge element, but again, like the coal plants, it might be just enough to push them to the point of safety and security this winter. Number 4, and one of my personal favorites, and I'm sure is one of the favorites of the government, is jacking up those taxes. Now, Germany has passed 2 new taxes in regards to this situation here. One to help offset the cost of procuring gasoline, and another to help fill up the gas stores that they're trying to fill up now, the 192% going to 95 I mentioned earlier. These 2 new taxes are estimated to cost the German family around 480 euros per year, and they intend to keep going and stay around for a while. Now, this is not all that bad, but they will vary based on individuals' families' needs, power consumption, all that kind of stuff. I remind you, this comes on top of the already high prices that many families are facing. Many families on the old grid or on different systems, different suppliers, whatever, not sure the exact details, but their energy bills have doubled since January. So this comes on top of already expensive raised prices. Germany added more taxes. I will give them one piece of credit though. They did introduce a new tax break along with these 2 raised taxes to help people out a little bit and alleviate some of the anger. So I guess that's good. And number 5, Germany is hoping to rely on some form of voluntary rationing, and if the need is there, mandatory rationing. Now, what does this mean? The German government has not put out any official statements or legislation about rationing or anything like that, but what they have asked is for Germans to consider reducing their usage by about 20%. You know, put those sweater on and wear an extra pair of socks at home, right? Not so bad. But will the average family be able to do this? Sure. It might be possible, especially if it's a mild winter. It might be possible to reduce that usage a little bit, especially with the large stockpile of wood that a lot of German families are now taking into account. That being said, if it is a rough winter, it's not really realistic to expect people to reduce their power usage by 20% if their kids are freezing and if their home is pretty much the same temperature as the outside, especially those families that are not able to collect wood or don't have a fireplace at home. What do you expect them to do? They can't exactly turn the heat off. If required, it is possible that the government may put forward mandatory rationing, which will mean the large companies, organizations, and businesses are going to have to take the hit here. Bring back those COVID restrictions and all the businesses being closed because, you know, that is a possibility. What will happen is before they turn off energy and power to houses, they will close businesses, non-essential corporations, malls, stuff like that, and reserve that power, gas, and all that electricity in order to put it back into homes, which, you know, I would rather my local mall be shut down than the power turned off or the heat turned off in my house, but, you know, still not ideal. Now, what are the chances of that actually happening? Well, if you listen to Schultz, there's nothing to worry about. Apparently, he says it's all under control, everything's taken care of, not to worry. Now, after 3 years of dealing with government crap, I don't know if I personally believe that, but, you know, believe what you will. Okay, so that's pretty much Germany's plan, the steps they have set forward to help survive, fight through, and make it through this winter. There is good news. According to the current forecast, it's expected to be a mild winter with not a lot of snow, which would be excellent news for Germany and Europe as a whole. But as we know, weatherman is probably one of the only jobs where you can be wrong most of the time and still keep your job. So we can't really put a lot of stakes in that and rely on the weather forecast. All in all, I think Germany has taken some important steps, taken some good steps forward, and has prepared as best as they can, giving, you know, their previous mess ups, relying on Russia's oil and the power plants and all that stuff. I think good measures are in place. Now, do I think Germany is going to be able to survive this winter based on the steps that Germany has put forward? Yes. I think they will survive. I think the chances of Germany running out of gas and homes going cold and, you know, people freezing to death in their house is probably pretty unlikely. And I think that that will be avoided at all costs. I think things will get more expensive. I think prices may go up, and I think they might have to do some sort of rationing. But I don't think people are going to have to worry about gas being shut off to their house because there is none left. Again, that is just my opinion based on this evidence and based on what I've heard and talked about with people here in Germany. I would love to hear what you think. Do you think Germany is going to have more trouble? Do you think it's going to be a breeze? Do you think Schultz and the government have everything under control? Please leave it below in the comments. I would love to hear what you think and what your plans are for making it through this winter as easily and as comfortably as possible. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, this is very off what I normally do, but it's something that's really interesting right now, and it's something that's very new and I think needs to be talked about, and I think will affect a lot of travelers as well as a lot of local Germans and people that are currently calling Europe home. Thank you again for watching. If you liked this video and you want to see more, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, cheers.